had a really amazing ride tonight with a couple, Patrick and his girlfriend of 4 years, and she had a Christian upbringing and he had a Catholic upbringing, right? And so I was listening to this song by Benjamin William Hastings. It's called So Will I, and there's a line in the song that talks about the sky, being the canvas of God's grace, something along the lines of the sky is the canvas of God's grace, and reminded me of a photo I took in the airplane flying back from Vegas this week. I got some tremendous photos of the sunset, just spectacular photos, and just beautiful. It's one of my favorite things, is being on an airplane above the clouds and seeing the sun come down under them, and just what wonder and awe. And what God showed me was basically an amazing illustration that through a photo like that you can deduct so many different things about God. So God was speaking to me about the photos, because there were several that I got that were just spectacular, and God spoke to me asking me what words can you think of that best describe my character and nature through those images. And so many words came to mind, such as awesome, creative, powerful, imaginative, beautiful, wonderful, uncontrollable, even wild, artistic, brilliant, all these words and more that, through a photo like that, just start thinking of all these words, and that those words all perfectly describe God. And yet God says, well, those are all words that describe Him. He says, these are all words that do perfectly describe me, but they also describe you, because you're created in my image. And I was like, oh, we think so little of ourselves to only think of God as being all those qualities and characteristics, but not the self. We're image bearers of that same God. So you are brilliant, you are powerful, you are beautiful, you are awesome, you are imaginative, you are creative, you are spectacular, you are unstoppable, you are wild, you are uncontainable, uncontrollable. So whenever you look at nature, I'm watching the sunrise come up as I speak, you just realize that God's image in you is revealed through nature, that any quality you can think of, that, strength maybe. Another great quality is you see the strength of God through creation. That describes you, because you're an image bearer of the same God who created this creation. And that's just such the nature of God's love through the Son, that He would send the Son to die on our behalf, the death that the law demands, because ultimately God sees and knows our true value. And that's really what I shared with Patrick, that I think really hit home for him, was growing up in Catholicism, your salvation can be thought of as based upon your own works, when in reality, true salvation, which is that of the soul is what was darkened to your true identity, your true value, your true destiny. Salvation is, I shared this with Patrick, salvation was never about your work, it's about Jesus' perfect work, that God calls, He calls us righteous through faith in Jesus' perfect work. So we're living in an age of grace, and a time in which salvation comes through the gift of Jesus, not through the efforts of your flesh. And so I share with Patrick that when you rest in Jesus, God actually goes to work on you. But if you insist on working, and God is going to insist on resting, He's going to allow you to exhaust yourself to try to figure out what you never will on your own, that you're a highly valued Son of God, destined for greatness, and created to bear an image or an identity that cannot be achieved. I said you can only receive it. So that's the beauty of the art of living, is that the greatest things, you will never be able to achieve them. All you can do is receive it, because at the highest point of God's nature, we see that He is a God of grace, and grace is a gift, and grace speaks of your intrinsic value. Grace does not speak of what you deserve. Grace, which Jesus came in grace and truth. Truth is on the side of grace, and grace came because of man's value. So it was just awesome, and there's just conversations like this that happen every day that I want to share more with you. But we sat for about 10 minutes just talking to the Lord, and He actually wanted to hear that song, "So Will I" by Benjamin Williams Hastings. I showed him the photo. I actually did an Instagram post with the line from the song, and no, it was just stinking phenomenal. So I just show up every day as a son of God, and God does the rest. God moves, God performs, God saves, God heals. There's a couple of moments in that conversation where I think we were all in tears, just because it wasn't me, it was just the Spirit of God moving through me. But at the highest point of our purpose, we're called to be vessels and conduits of God's love and mercy, His message of grace, His message of forgiveness, of peace, through the one Jesus Christ. God bless you. That's all I got for right now. I'm 5 minutes from home, exhausted but ready to grind. I got a 42.5 pound vest waiting on me. Gonna get that work in, powered by grace.